Hello, Christian.
Hello.
So, now we've done introductions, but I'd just like to start with the fact that, you know, you're an amazing creative producer. You worked on wonderful projects, you know, all over Australia and New Zealand. And I thought we'd just start with a story about something that made you super excited, like a project that still gives you joy to this day.
Oh, well, there's actually been a lot of different projects over the years, and just give you a little bit of my background. I started out in New Zealand. I was born in Manchester, and my father was a merchant in the Merchant Navy, and we immigrated to New Zealand at quite a young age. I was about 4 years old at the time, in a place called Mount Maunganui, and I heard it pronounced on the TV, Manganui. It's actually Maunganui. It has to give it that kind of Maori sort of pronunciation. So that's where I grew up. It was a little beach town on the east coast of the North Island. I then went to Otago University to study music, and then I went and did some postgraduate music courses in Victoria University. Out of that, I moved into music composing for TV, and then more into theatre, and immigrated to Australia, and then worked as a kind of senior producer, executive producer at QPAC, and at that time I was also seconded to work with artists all around the world, really, as a producer, not as anything to do with music. And to get to your thing, what project that really excited me, there really have been a lot of them, but one of the ones, the musical ones anyway, that I've done, which I really loved, was working with Mandy Patinkin and Patti LuPone, two great Broadway artists who, if you know Broadway, if you know musical theatre, Patti LuPone originated the role of Evita for Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical. And Mandy Patinkin, a lot of people know him more as an actor in the series Homeland, and of course in the cult sort of movie The Princess Bride. That's right, here we go. And I had the pleasure of touring with those two artists, performing their favourite songs from Broadway, everything from Sondheim all the way through to Harold Arlen and all the things in between, and all the songs that really had impacted on their career. And their pianist at the time was a guy called Paul Forward, who I got very friendly with. And Paul Forward was Stephen Sondheim's original rapporteur. So all those musicals that Stephen Sondheim wrote, Paul Forward was in the room for those rehearsals. And he's actually written a book about it, which I haven't actually read yet, but look up Paul Forward, and he's written a memoir about his time with Stephen Sondheim. So I guess just being around those people and listening to them every night and listening to how they change everything up, watching their professionalism, the way they sort of deal with show stress. And Mandy's very introverted and very reserved, and then he'll go to the gym and he'll go for a swim, and then he'll get on stage and do his thing. Patty's really out there, abrasive, sometimes rude. So that's kind of one of the projects that really excited me, but it's just one. I mean, as a producer, you do get to work with some incredible people. The other person that I had a ball with, and he didn't speak a word of English, was a guy called Chucho Valdez, who's an Afro-Cuban jazz master who worked with Duke Ellington. He's in his 80s now, and he's the dean of Cuban jazz. Essentially, he invented the genre, took it to the States, and it became what it is in places like Miami. We didn't really have anything to talk about because I didn't speak any Spanish. He spoke very little English, but we used to go out together and shop for flowers. That's what he liked to do before a concert. He'd go out and say, you know, someone would interpret, say, Chucho wants to go out and look for flowers. So we'd go into the mall in Sydney and look for flowers, and just through those wonderful communications, we just had a really nice time. Nothing to do with language, and always about music. And the shows were just phenomenal. Every night was just a blast. He was one of these interesting musicians who had trained in Russia because he was a Cuban artist. All those musicians and dancers would go to Russia because that's the only communist country on the planet that they could go and get an education outside Cuba, the only place they'd be accepted. And he studied at the Moscow Conservatoire and learnt Ravel, he learnt Bach, and he fused all those things into his jazz repertoire, and had this really unique ability of being able to take a salsa, you know, or any kind of Latin idiom that you could think, and throw in a bit of Ravel and throw in a bit of Bach and make it sound like it had lived in that genre all its life. It really was remarkable. So one of the great pleasures of being a producer at that level is getting to work and hang out with these artists. So that's something that I've always been eternally grateful for.
Amazing. So now for something a bit different, would you mind regaling us with something that was quite fraught?
Quite fraught, okay. The other person I worked with for 2 years on and off was John Cleese, the English comedian. Fawlty Towers, and of course going back Monty Python, Fish Called Wanda, if you ever saw that movie. So that was the man who did all those movies, and I was kind of dragged sort of slightly kicking and screaming into his world when I got a phone call from a good friend of mine, Billy Brown, who is no longer with us, but he is a great Australian sort of artist. He'd worked on things with Kate Blanchett, like Oscar and Lucinda, if you've ever seen that movie. A wonderful actor, and he was born in Billawheeler, and he made his mark by going and being the only person born in Billawheeler to ever perform in the Royal Shakespeare Company. So he had that kind of trajectory in his own life, and he came back and was desperate for a producer to work with his good friend John Cleese, because John was preparing an autobiographical stand-up show about his life that he was going to tour to New Zealand. So my connection there, I was working at QPAC, Billy was writing his next play, which was called The School of Arts, in the office next to me, and he tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, look, John desperately needs a producer for the show. It's crazy, it's going really badly. We need someone to step in and organise it and get it on the road." So of course, what are you saying when John Cleese comes knocking? You say, "No, I'm not, I can turn that down." So I said, "Yeah, sure." So within sort of 48 hours of Billy saying, "Would you like to do this?" There's a phone call from John saying, "We need you on a plane now to fly out to Montecito in California to start producing this show," which was called John Cleese's Lifetimes and Medical Problems. And so he flew me out, and I landed at very blurry-eyed in Los Angeles, got a limo, got the full Hollywood treatment out to his ranch in Montecito, which was bordered on one side by George Clooney's estate and bordered on the other side by Oprah Winfrey's estate. He had the patch of land in the middle, which was a 17-acre sort of stud farm, because his daughter was into show jumping, like she was a professional sort of show jumper. And so he'd bought her this kind of stables and horse jumping arena along with all the horses and everything else. So we were looking for a rehearsal space, and John wanted to do it in town in Montecito. He lived in sort of outside, further up the hill in Santa Barbara, and we went there for a while, and it didn't go very well. So I encouraged him to use the horse stables as the rehearsal space, because we had a beautiful ring, one of those ringed horse stables where they train the horses in dressage. It was a perfect spot, so we went in there. And from there it got really crazy, and I'll just give you one example because I could talk about this all night, is that there were a lot of props in the show. It started out as a very simple show of him getting up with a mic and really giving a monologue, and then he started adding things into that monologue, and he added in a stripper from Montecito. That was the first thing he did. Can I say that word? Yeah, well, that's what he did. Carrie Ann. So he who was a friend of Camilla, his daughters, who did pole dancing in Montecito. He thought it'd be a good idea to introduce this woman. So then we had to deal with John and this Carrie Ann, okay? And then he decided to start throwing a whole lot of props into the equation, which were all sort of, by varying degrees, more and more ridiculous. So first prop he decided was a guillotine. He wanted to execute himself on stage at the end of the show, and it had to be a realistic French guillotine, so it couldn't be any kind of guillotine. It had to be a magical guillotine that sort of, for anybody in the audience, it would look like his head was rolling down the floor. So I got a magician friend of mine in Brisbane here who made magical props, and the way I got that person involved was not because I already knew that person, it was because there was a person working in ticketing at Qtix at Queensland Performing Arts Centre who said, "Oh yeah, my husband makes magical props." So, so that was the first journey. But then the second lot of props got even more silly. Like he decided that for one of the skits he would like to fire a kitten from a cannon. So that's when I sort of stopped and go, your head just goes, "What? So you kind of work it out. And look, I sort of got on the phone to a few friends in New Zealand, and I go back to my New Zealand experience where I come across these guys who used to build props for Peter Jackson's films, specifically The Lord of the Rings, and there really wasn't much they hadn't fabricated. So I had a good sort of understanding that if I went to these guys with an idea, they would have a solution. And I said, I've got this tour coming up, and it's for John Cleese, and he wants to fire a cat out of a cannon. So they had started going, okay, well, first of all, what does a cannon look like? And that was the first range. It couldn't be any sort of cannon. We went through all sorts of cannons, and it could be anything from a, 15th century blunderbuster right the way through to a more modern sort of circus cannon. So the first conversation with John was around what kind of cannon he wanted and what it had to look like. So we could then go to the fabricating factory and say, this is a picture of the cannon. The second challenge in this was, of course, how do you fire a cat out of it? And this is where the guy scratched his head in New Zealand, because his job was really fabricating props. He really didn't do anything to do with firing cats out of props. So he said, but hey, you know what? I know a guy who sort of has the factory space next door to me, and he's a pneumatic specialist. And you know what? He fired a sheep over Skipper's Canyon once. If you know New Zealand at all, Skipper's Canyon is the canyon that they do the shot over jet on. So, and where A.J. Hackett did the first bungee jump. Yeah, so it's quite a well-known thing. So when it's a sheep over canyon, so it would have been one of those kind of publicity stunts that they did around the A.J. Hackett bungee jumping sort of thing in New Zealand. And this guy goes, oh yeah, look, I think I can do that. It's an air compressor, and we'd have to get into the barrel of the thing. You'd have to stuff the kitten down, and then you'd have to do this and do that. And that was all going on swimmingly well. We kind of solved the problem, how the cat was going to fire out of the cannon, and we worked out the pneumatics of it. And then we got sort of halfway into the scripting, and John said, actually, the gag would be better served if we had two cats being fired out of the cannon. So we designed this sort of thing with one pneumatic air chamber, and then all of a sudden it had to become two pneumatic air chambers. But I have to say, the guys did an exceptional job of this thing. Like it was a pimped cannon, It had these two air compressors that were hidden by the shell of the cannon, had a massive barrel coming out of it. It had a kind of key that you could turn it on with a green light, and you press the button, and there was a pyrotechnic sort of flash that you also could pour into the cannon that allowed it to have a big puff of smoke that came out of it. And this was all going well. We kind of got the two cannon thing, we got the two cat thing. We were workshopping it with an animatronic dummy cat in the workshop, and it could fire this cat from here 40 metres across the car park, hit the back wall of the theatre, no problems at all. Now then he threw another spanner in the works. He said it wouldn't be particularly realistic if we just used animatronic cats. So we have to have real cats. And then it got even more specific. He said, not only do they have to be real cats, but there has to be a long-haired Burman and a short-haired Burmese cat. So I then had to source these two kittens around New Zealand that we would take, and there would be a sleight of hand trick where he would hand me the cat, the live cat, and I would hand him the animatronic cat, which would then get stuffed down. So at the end of this tour, I had scratch marks all over my hand. He'd come past me and go like this, and the cat would go... And, it was really punishment. That was just one thing, And so when you talk about fraught projects, and I've been through a few of them, that's the one that always sticks in my head and goes, nothing gets worse than this, and nothing ever has in terms of having to deal with craziness at short notice, and just make it happen, really. So putting a song together, don't even worry about it. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Let's go back into your childhood. Could you tell us a little bit about how you got into music? And I understand you had a band of your own.
Yeah, I had a few bands actually. I had a school band, and I make no apologies for the names of these bands. It was called the Cat's Pajamas. And it consisted of my music teacher on bass, because we couldn't find a bass player, and two friends of mine who were both called Simon and Simon. And we just sort of did covers there. It was everything from Joe Jackson through to The Clash and bands like that kind of, 80s sort of music. So that was the first band. And then when I went to university, I was kind of in Dunedin. And if you know anything about New Zealand and Dunedin, there's this thing called the Seattle sound in the 90s, which was Kurt Cobain and all those kind of bands that came from Seattle specifically. And that was the craze in Dunedin. And we had bands that like Snapper, the Verlaines, and they're all affiliated with a label called Flying Nun Music, which became hugely prolific in New Zealand for alternative sort of music that people produced on a shoestring. There were bands like the Bats, and that was the thing that was swimming around the university, Otago University, and that's the kind of music I did. And I had a band called Freud Squad. In New Zealand, we have a thing called the Serious Fraud Squad, and it was kind of like a play on the Serious Fraud Squad, Freud Squad. And that was a three-piece band with myself playing guitars and singing. I had a bass player and a drummer, and the bass player was from a place just north of Dunedin called Oamaru, which is really a hard-nosed kind of New Zealand town, and is very much into drinking, very much into smoking whatever he could get his hands on. And then our drummer was a Christian, so we had these kind of interesting band dynamics there. He was an awesome drummer, but he was very clean living. So we played the kind of pub circuit, so it was very much a pub sort of band, and we recorded some music, and I hope to bring a record along to put on tonight, but I couldn't find it. Peter said, this will be really cool and retro if you bring one of your old records along and put it on the tape. I think it would be really uncool and slightly embarrassing because I'm singing on that record and I'm also playing the guitar, but maybe for next time we do a launch of songs, I'll bring that along. So that's really how I got into music. I kind of grew up with, my father was a banjo player. He did music, Dixieland music mainly. And Dixie jazz, and he played the banjo, and we had an upright piano in the house, and I played that, and I played guitar, and then I studied a bit of classical guitar when I went to university, and got into Renaissance lutes, which Sting also got into. If you follow Sting's career, he went through a lute phase, so it was all those kind of things, and but primarily worked in composition and also ethnomusicology, which is my other passion. This is world music, and I still to this day do a lot of collaborations with WOMAD in Adelaide on the world as a producer of world music tours.
Oh. So then you went on your producing journey and you sort of came full circle for these songs.
Yeah, so after university I went into sort of arts administration. I set up a festival in New Zealand called the Festival of New Zealand Theatre, which had a very strong Polynesian focus. I did that for about 10, maybe 8 years, and I met my partner here at Annika in New Zealand, who's sitting there, and we then decided we were swimming in a very small pond, as we all do as New Zealanders. We kind of look over the Tasman and go, oh, it'd be nice to be in a bigger pond, and we kind of made the leap over the Tasman and have been here for nearly 17, 18 years now. And I took on a job at QPAC, Queensland Performing Arts Centre, did that for about 10 years, and then I got to the point where I felt like I'd done everything 3 times. I'd produced major musicals, managed their concert hall series, and I decided to go out on my own, and that's where I've been for the last 10 years. And then COVID hit, demolished everything in terms of my business. I had time on my hands, and one of the beautiful things about COVID, it gave us time to do other things. So I started writing music again, which is kind of why we're here tonight.
So I understand this was a large body of work that then Alison's choir workshop.
Yeah, so we kind of, we took on the ambitious idea of workshopping nearly 26 songs, which retrospectively was a bit crazy. So we went out and sort of worked with a whole lot of our friends. Renee, who's here tonight, Hannah, who's not here, but did a lot of work. Rebecca Carlin, who's not here and didn't appear on the recordings in the end, but she helped us a lot to get where we were. We called in a lot of favours, and we did a kind of workshop here almost a year ago, which sort of contained all the songs that you're going to hear tonight, and gave us an opportunity to try them out, work out what was working, also work out which ones were closer to being in a recordable sort of fashion. And then from there we've kind of all around our very busy lives have kind of tried to fit in this recording process everyone has a busy life and career outside of this project, so it's about people coming in and doing the horn session, and then a month later we do, and then Peter's come in and done some wonderful extensions of some of the piano parts that I wrote that have taken them to a new level. So it's been a real collaborative experience. Some of the people I haven't even met who have been on these songs. As I was saying, the guy that is doing the bass work and the guitar work and also the keyboard work on one of the songs is somebody that I've heard a lot but never met. He's a guy session musician who I've seen at the Botanic Gardens every weekend in the markets there. So I've heard him and I thought, oh my God, that's a really hot band. What are these guys playing in the market for? What a great vocalist. And Peter sort of, I put two and two together. Hey, that guy really sounds like that guy here in the gardens. And it turns out it is that guy that I hear in the gardens every weekend. So we have all these kind of rather unusual, through Peter and his network and through me and my network, these confluence of people that have just come in and sort of thrown their support behind the project and come in and done a session, really, and that's where we are. So the process of this project has very much been session based. Like a lot of bands will go out and tour for a year and then go into the studio. This, because everyone has sort of come in as a session player, we've kind of started with a what's called a click track and a drum track, my slightly dodgy demos, and then reached out to people like Shane Calderbank, and he's kind of done the kind of a working version of it against the click track, and then we've taken that and to where the arrangements are now, which I think you'll find they're a lot more sophisticated than I could have ever hoped for, doing it on my own in my little home studio, which is really a Mac computer and a desk in my bedroom.
So we've selected 8 songs, I understand, that were recorded, and that's what we're going to listen to today. So we'll go through each one of them and we'll speak to you about, their origins, what you felt, how they came to be.
Yeah, I won't dwell on it because I think it's more fun to listen to the song and let people make up their own minds what they think about it. But yeah.
But also, if anyone from the audience that has a question about a song, we'd really welcome that, if there's something you'd like to know. So I understand the first song we're going to hear is Too Easy. This is sung by Renee Sutty.
Yes.
Would you like to speak to it?
It's just a standard love song, really, or it's a parting of ways song, put it that way. So it's a song about parting of ways and how it's too easy to love somebody, but it's also too easy to leave. And that's the sentiment of the song.
Time has come to close the book, to let the words fade and disappear from the pages, wash away to the sea. Let's not deny, it's no surprise that we were destined to burn the mist off the mountains. Let the trade winds blow as they please. Falling, I'm falling, I'm stalling. Slowly but surely we're learning that it's easy, too easy to love you. Yet come lately, it has been easy, too easy to leave. The lonely pause in lonely haze, the empty-hearted accounting ships by the Mersey, hypnotized by the waves. You pour the wine I'll start the band. There is no reason to walk away from the memories. There is nothing we need repair. Raining, it's falling, it's draining. Daily, routinely, we're saying that it's easy, too easy to love you. Yet come lately, it has been easy, too easy to leave. You remember when we were vivid light and love was all that ever lasted, and life was so easy to read. I remember then all the new day bliss, all the lost meaning devotion. In those days, love was easy to believe. Love was easy, so easy, so easy to leave. Love was easy, too easy, too easy to leave.
Amazing. Well, we expect that from Renee, but the backing vocals were just gorgeous. So I heard Westy, describe that as a Tina Turner moment.
A Tina Turner moment. Yes.
So yeah, amazing. So the second song we'll hear is called Harvey Wallbanger and Freddie Fudpacker.
Okay, this is a song about the Harvey Weinstein saga. And it's, yes, I know, it's like, how do we go from this to this? There's a lot of juxtapositions in tonight. So one of the things, there's three kind of different directions with this kind of these songs, and one of them is cabaret, and the other one is kind of 30s jazz, and I was kind of looking at Harold Arlen and Kurt Weill as sort of inspiration, but this is one of those songs that comes from the cabaret set, which Hannah Goodwin has done, and it's you'll hear it. It's about the sort of the idea of the girl that comes to Hollywood with all the dreams of becoming a star, and she meets Harvey Weinstein, and that's what the song is about. And it's about Harvey Weinstein and the conversation, what happens next. We all kind of know the Harvey Weinstein story, and it's called Harvey Wallbanger and Freddie Fudpacker. Now, I asked a few people, and some people have never heard of a Harvey Wallbanger before. Everyone's heard of a Harvey Wallbanger? As a cocktail. And the Freddie Fudpacker is actually the lesser known cocktail that was invented by the same person that actually invented the Harvey Wallbanger. So I've taken those two ideas of the cocktail and the serving of the cocktail and those names. And I thought it was hilarious. Freddie Fudpacker, I think it's a really funny idea and funny name. So I'm really interested in words, and I hadn't heard of a Freddie Fudpacker before. So it combines those two ideas of the cocktail in a story about Harvey Weinstein. It's sung by a female singer, that's kind of gets it away a little bit. We were talking about it before from the misogynistic idea of the song. For female sings it, I think it takes on a different sort of light. Here's Hannah Goodwin and Harvey Wallbanger and Freddie Fudpacker.
you made. Some stars burn bright, some stars will burn brighter, some stars will fade away. Careful what you say.
So Ashley, there was one of the brass on that. I was actually at the New Orleans Jazz Festival with him about 16, 17 years ago. And that very much reminds me of a New Orleans pub band.
Yeah,
in terms of
it's
the
just a
sound.
capture that kind of slightly sleazy nature of the Dixie jazz when you slow it down and make it a bit bluesy. So
Yeah.
hopefully sort of captured the story of sort of Harvey Weinstein, and I think Han did a great job sort of
Yeah.
encapsulating that vocal.
That was really cool. All right, so now we're going to move on to another one from Hannah.
Yeah.
You Sink My Heart.
Yeah, so one of the challenges for me as a writer was writing for female vocalists. So I tend to don't just write in a male voice for male lyrics. So this is a song about a woman on the verge from a woman's perspective. It's called You Sink My Heart of Stone. It's kind of a blues sort of cabaret song in the same vein as Harvey Wallbanger.
Closing time, is it closing time? Has the moonlight lost her luster? When the night implodes with your episodes, I would rather drink alone. You sink my heart of stone. Nothing's right when there's nothing wrong. Is your never, ever ending? When you stake a claim on a frozen lake, it will never feel like home. You sink my heart of stone. It's never easy, never breezy. It's never how you dream. It's always crazy, sometimes lazy. It's never what it might have been. Is it the strip? Is it the tease? Is it the bud that bites the bee? Is it these walls? Is it this lounge? Is it the up that brings us down? What is a life lived underground? Curtain time, is it curtains time? Is the morning really over? Has the fire gone cold? Is our love there nothing we could clone? You sink my heart, sink my heart. You sink my heart of stone.
That one really sits in the pocket, and I like that.
Yeah, she's a great job on
Yeah. So we're now going to move over to Tyra Reid singing.
Yeah.
Blue Rain.
Yeah, so this is just a slightly nostalgic jazz number that's kind of written in a kind of 1930s style jazz. I don't really want to say much about this. It's quite an emotive song, and Tara's done a wonderful job of interpreting it. We really kind of worked very hard on this to try and get the sentiment of it right. It's not an easy song to sing, but she's done a wonderful job. So.
Tyra's right here.
Of course, I've done.
Hello, Tyra.
And I think she hasn't heard this one yet either.
Okay.
Here we go.
The seasons come, the seasons go, and all I know is what I know. The birds fly north, the birds fly south, and leave these skies for brighter skies. The day that you left me for another hope, I let you go, and so it goes. The day that you left me down on my luck, the rain turned blue. The tide rose in, the tide rose on, then all that gleams is all but gone. The sun burns hot, the sun sets cold. When love grows deep and love grows on, the day that you left me for another hope, I let you go, and so it goes. The day that you left me down on my luck, the rain turned blue. When I heard your voice in the wind last night, I knew where you were hiding. Under the cover of darkness, does your star shine true? When I saw your face in a pool of light, I thought that I was dreaming, lost in the echoes of canyons. Did you call my name? When the blue rain falls, there is nothing you can do. The clouds roll by, the storm subsides, a new day dawns, then the next arrives, then the seasons come, the seasons go, and all you know is what you know. The birds fly north, the birds fly south, and leave these skies for brighter skies. The day that you left me for another hope, I let you go, and so it goes. The day that you left me down on my luck, the rain turned blue. You make the rain turn blue.
Wow, Tyra, that was very single malt Scotch and honey. All right, so another one from Tyra.
Okay.
We've got Empty Skies.
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a tearjerker, I think. So get your handkerchiefs out. It's about just the idea of the end of the song says no more empty skies. So it's going from a position of having empty skies to a position of having no more empty skies, and the journey in between. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'd rather let the music. Tara sings this so beautifully that it's better that we let Tara do the talking on this one.
Open the door, let the sunlight kiss the shadows. It's time to rise. Yes, it's time to greet the day again. Tear down a wall, let the wind howl through the hallway. It's time to leave. Yes, it's time to leave those thoughts behind. All alone in the quiet of your room, you tremble when you draw a breath to take that step, to climb that hill, to find that ledge. When you try Empty sky.
So moody and broody, I like it. So the third one is also Tara singing. This is not what you would expect from a Christmas-themed song.
No, it's a song about asking the question, what is Christmas? As a producer, I've worked on a lot of Christmas shows. I did the Lord Mayor's Christmas carols for about 8 years with Alison and a lot of the good folk in this room. And so it came to a point where my partner Annika said, you need to write a Christmas song. So I've written a Christmas song, but it's as she's pointed out, it's not a happy Christmas song. It's in a minor key. But it's a song that asks the question, what is Christmas, and then answers that rhetorical question in the second half of the song. And the conclusion I came to is that Christmas is really there so we can all kind of be kind to each other just for one day. So that's kind of the idea of the song. I'll let you listen to it and work it out for yourself. But
It's called Closer to Love.
yeah, and someone said, I think it was Peter said, it should be called Closer to Grog, because Christmas brings us closer to grog. But I've chosen the word love. There's another version of this song in a major key. Okay.
Is it the magic lamp or the keys beneath the mistletoe, the tinsel on the stairs, or the thought of summer snow? Is it the silver star that shines for all eternity, or the ribbons tied in bows, or the sound of reindeer tripping across the night sky? Is it the dancing elves, or the doves that nest in golden rings, the wise men bearing gifts, or the quest for newborn kings? Is it the choir of bells that sing above the city spires, or the angels in the air, or the hush of children waking before the dawn breaks? It's every wish for every dreamer. It's every spell on every corner. It's every vow for every lover. It's every hope on every border, to say, if Christmas was every day of the year, we'd be free. Is it the candles' glow? Is it the naked flame, or the flickering of light that brings us closer to love, closer to love, closer to love?
Love the choir, almost caroling in the back there.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
A choir of bells.
Yeah, great job. All right, so we're going to go to a song called Over You,
Yes.
which is also Renee Sutty singing it.
Yeah, this is just your standard sort of slightly Burt Bacharach-ish relationship song. So let's just play it, yeah.
And this is
So
it's special because Renee's husband, Andrew, is playing tenor sax on it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sax part. I hope you enjoy it.
Anytime now, anytime soon, love comes a knocking about. Any way in, any way through, love's gonna get one over, baby, love's gonna get one over you, over you. Anytime now, anytime soon, love comes a drinking alone. Anywhere dark, anywhere blue, love's gonna get one over, baby, love's gonna get one over you, over you. While you're guessing his game, and when love comes crashing through your door, when your angel shoots your lucky star and drops to his knees, time to turn out the light, it's time to take out the fuse. You'll be snaking fate, you'll be tempting fate, you'll be singing his blues. Baby, love's gonna lose. Anytime now, anytime soon, love comes a storming through town. Any old war, any old coup, love's gonna get one over, baby, love's gonna get one over you, over you. When you're out on your own, when you're alone in this world, love's gonna get one over, baby, love's gonna get one over, love's gonna get one over you, over you, over you.
This is a real treat. I listen to these songs through the tinny speakers of my computer, I'm ashamed to admit. So tonight I feel like I'm listening to them for the first time. So it's just a real treat. So we're up to our last song.
Yes.
So this is the biggest orchestration,
Yes.
the biggest amount of moving parts, and
That's right. It's a big song, and it's called Sister Sunshine, and it's one of the ones that probably has the biggest sort of. It's like a rock anthem, I think. in a sort of gospel idiom. It was written, when I was flatting in Dunedin, in Dunedin as a student, I had a shared flat, which we had 13 people living in the same house. And there was this woman who probably smoked too much wacky backy, but she was so positive all the time. She'd always be coming very positive. We were all sitting around reading sort of German philosophers like Nietzsche and other people like that, and we're rather serious as students, but this woman seemed to have this aura about her that just exuded positivity, and I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful to go through life like that? And I coined the phrase for her, which is Sister Sunshine. I always used to call her Sister Sunshine because she'd walk in the room and she'd light it up. And that's kind of where the idea of this song came from way back then, and it's just a line that stuck with me in my head, and then I put it into a song. So that's what Sister Sunshine is called, and that's kind of what it's about.
Cool. This is Renee Sutty singing.
Renee. And everybody else is in on this one.
Yeah, this is everyone.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Some days just fall apart, and some days just keep on sliding. Imagine if you could fly. Just imagine where you might touch down. Sunshine, light up the sky. Sister Sunshine, she light up the sky. When the sunlight don't burn in your eyes, Sister Sunshine will light up the night sky. Some roads will lead to Rome, and some roads are never ending. Remember when you were free, just remember where that would take you. Sunshine, light up the sky. Sister Sunshine, she light up the sky. When the sunlight don't burn in your eyes, Sister Sunshine will light up the night sky. When you got no joy, when you got no sorrow, when you got no hope, when you got no tomorrow, when you got no dreams, when you got no free zone, when you gotta scream